The Frozen North, Episode 5, our top 5 silent protagonists.
Hello and welcome to Episode 5 of The Frozen North, your source for the best adventures and RPGs that video games have to offer. My name is JJ, and I'm here alongside my two co-hosts, the crazy cowboy wannabe, Mark.
Howdy, y'all!
And my coughing fit friend, Brian.
I've got the plague.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah.
So, all right, Episode 5, guys. We've reached our first, mini milestone.
I can no longer tell you how much percentage more this is.
Yeah, we've been
Without
doing
a
this for
calculator.
years now, apparently.
Well, that's what it feels. No, not really.
Not really.
Actually, it doesn't at all.
Right.
Although 2 weeks in between each episode does feel like a long time, but
Yeah.
it wouldn't give us any time to play any games.
True.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
because there's work and stuff.
Real life.
So, what you guys been playing, Brian?
I had just beat Chrono Trigger this week. I've also been playing World of Warcraft a little bit here and there, and that's about it. Like I said, I've been sick most of the week, so I've been doing a lot of sleeping and working and just trying to recover. So, honestly, WoW and Chrono Trigger.
WoW and Chrono Trigger, quite
Yes.
the 2 weeks off. So your journey is coming along great.
Yeah, kind of slow going.
Episode 5, and you're not even on the second game yet.
I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
Forgive me, everybody.
Yep.
Forgive me.
But you know what? I should go back and re-edit the first one just to be like, I'm taking a journey. And I say that because it's going to take me 12 years to complete it.
Hey, it's going to take me 12 years, but it's going to get done. It's a journey. That's what they call journeys. Long, arduous journeys.
I'll give
with
you that.
A ton of games in between.
All right, then. Yeah, obviously.
Although, hey, we are going to start Final Fantasy 14, so there's one.
That's
Bam.
true.
So,
That's true.
hey.
Mark?
I've been playing Chrono Trigger as well. This isn't my first playthrough, though. It's one of many. And I've also been playing Skyrim still. Didn't get enough of it last week, so still playing that.
I imagine you're one of many still playing Skyrim.
Yep.
Every time I get into it, I can't stop, so I have to kind of
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks you when it happened to me.
monitor. Yeah. I've been I finished up Tales of Xillia. We're gonna do a review on that today. I
You
liked
kind of
it.
marathon that.
I did.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was going to be a lot longer than it actually was.
Gotcha.
And so I was like, I need to start this early, and that way I have time to do it and stuff. And my days off, I was just going 4 or 5 hours at a time, which for me is quite a long time.
Sure.
Other than that, I've been playing what we're going to be reviewing on the next episode, which I won't say the title yet, but it's all right so far. You guys know which game I'm talking about.
I do.
It'll be up on the Facebook page later if
So
you guys
check
wanna
it
hear
out.
And the effing podcast.
and on the Twitter at
Twitter.
FN Podcast.
Yeah, at FN Podcast.
I've also I played Hammerfall on Steam. I landed that with Mark's brother, which was a nice short game, a lot like Gauntlet. Really hard though. You get 3 lives or something to start out with, and I don't even understand how anybody could do that because at the end, it keeps a death tally. We checked a box that gave you infinite lives. I think by the end I had 140.
Oh, boy.
I mean, it was insane.
Nice.
It was absolutely
Sounds
insane.
tough.
I don't see how anybody could run through that. If you can, dude, send me a link to a video of somebody doing that because that's crazy. Other than that, not much. I didn't play Chrono Trigger these past 2 weeks because, like I said, I've been focusing on Tales of Xillia, and I've played Chrono Trigger backwards and forwards, upside down, inside out. So, all right, well, with that, we'll head into our first review. Mark, give us a lead-in noise, would you?
For Tales of Xillia.
Yep.
Woo! Tales of Xillia!
Perfect. That's
Classic Mark.
That's just what I was looking for, right there.
Knowing nothing about the game, that was the best I could do.
All right. Well, since you guys haven't played this, I guess I'll take the reins here.
Yeah, we'll just sit back and listen to this story mode.
All right. Well, I know Mark has some questions, but I'll go ahead and go over the pros and cons that I've got first. As far as pros go, the character development, fantastic. I that's one of the reasons I love the Tales games so much is because they focus so much on the characters themselves. I'll admit when I first saw the reviews and the facts and everything on it, the fact that there's so few characters, there's only 6 total, kind of turned me off a little bit, and I was like, well, I like having a lot of options and a lot of people in the party and everything like that. But the fact that there's only 6, the game spends so much time on each one, developing them like each individually. It's awesome. You really get a feel for who each person is. And if you've ever played a Tales game, you know like they have the skits that give you like little pieces of insight every now and then.
So it's got the
story.
Tales flavor, is what you're saying?
Definitely, it's a fantastic entry into the series. Another thing I like about it is it feels episodic. I love the way they tell the story, because they're like, normally you beat a game and you sit back and if the ending's good, you're like, oh, that was awesome, that was great. I feel like I've done something. I've gone on this long journey and blah blah blah. This game has that like at multiple points in the story. Like literally,
nice.
like I would play through an entire story arc, and I'd be like, man, I can't believe how much I've done. I'd think back to what's been going on, and then all of a sudden something else will come up, and it's completely different from the first one, with themes and stuff from the overall story. But it's hard to explain unless you actually play it. It literally feels like you're watching an anime. And I mean, I'm not a huge anime fan or anything like that. I've watched Dragon Ball Z, and that's about it.
That's about it.
Nothing
but
wrong
like
with that.
you go through the story arcs. And that's exactly how this game is. You go through one story arc where you've got a bad guy that you're trying to stop, and you take him down and stuff. And then right when that happens, something else opens up, and you're like, oh, well, we need to go stop this guy now and do this. And everything just continues from the last, but it feels like a completely new.
So it flows.
Yes, it's really, really. I love the way they tell the story. And because of that, that's my last pro, is that you really feel like you've accomplished something at multiple points rather than just at the end, which is awesome. As far as cons go, that's one thing that I think is so goofy about it, is like you have all these points where you sit back and you think about what you've done, and it feels awesome, but the ending to the entire game is so like anticlimactic and just bland. I don't know if this is a spoiler really, but like most games, especially RPGs, you play, you get to the end, you fight a boss, and then he like morphs into something bigger, or somebody else comes up that you didn't know was going to be there, or something like that. And there's like 3 or 4 boss fights. This is just one boss fight at the end, and it's over, and that's it. And it's not even like anything super spectacular. It's just pretty straightforward, and just kind of like, oh, that was it. Like I thought I had just finished another arc when I got to it, and I was like, oh.
So the ending jumped up at you and
yeah,
was like, hey,
it just kind of crept up at me. It was weird. Not to say it was bad. It was just, I guess, unsatisfying. I guess the best way to say it. It was just kind of like, that's it. But I kind of gave it some leeway, just because, like I said, there's so many other points in the story where it did make me feel that way. The like, there's a lot of different zones in the game, and going from town to town or town to dungeon or something like that, there's usually like a field or something, or a forest that you go through. They all pretty much look the exact same with different skins. So it's kind of bland. And it's like every time I had to go to a new area, I was just like, oh crap, I have to run through one of these zones again. And it's like, you run along, you look for treasure chests and harvest points and that kind of stuff, and then you just go through it, and that's it. Every single zone has like, there's like 2 or 3 that are a little different, but for the most part, every zone is just a wide open area with a couple of hills, and then on the left and right side, there's 2 big cliffs, and you're just running through, and you can't go over the cliffs, obviously, or anything, and that's literally it. So it's kind of, the environments are a little bland. And my last gripe is Tipo, who is
you mean the classic JRPG annoying character?
Yes.
Yeah.
He is this little stuffed toy who one of the characters has with her, and there's a lot more to him. Like, you find out throughout the story what he actually is and why he can do what he does. But the way he talks and the things that he says and everything, think Jar Jar Binks.
Ooh,
and that's
pleasant.
kind of on that level.
Wow.
There's something that happens to him about I'd say maybe halfway or so through the game where it kind of lessens it a little bit. But I mean, pretty much like, what's the one quote that he says? Like, that's level 99% on the friendship meter.
Wow.
What?
Yep. Yeah, he's quite the guy. I honestly, I mean, and I'll have to edit this out, but frankly, he's a zipper.
Wow.
So, yep. So yeah, overall, I definitely I recommend it for sure, especially if you're a Tales fan. It's a fantastic entry into the series. If you were a little disappointed with the last one, like I was, Tales of Graces, I liked it, but this one just
Better.
really redeemed myself. That's I mean, this is going to sidetrack a little bit, but that's one of the things I like about the Tales series is they literally will take everything that's right about previous games and just put it in and not change the formula too much. They want a little bit of new stuff in there, but they won't. Like Final Fantasy. I mean, if you look at the early Final Fantasy games to now, like 13. It's like, what happened?
Yeah,
it's just it's more than just a graphical upgrade.
Right.
They're completely different games.
Exactly.
And that's not how these are. These are all like they have the same flair, same flavor, same character development, and just it's one of those if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And they're not. And I love that about the series. Mm-hmm. How long will it last? I don't know. But I mean, as long as they keep making like this, I love it.
Right. And they all use the same battle system, the linear motion battle system, with slight variations.
Yeah, absolutely.
I heard some people preferred the battle system in Tales of Graces. Is it a little more complex?
Yes, there's a little more you can do, especially like the button combinations and that kind of stuff. This one's pretty straightforward. I literally beat the entire game. Like there's 4 difficulties when you first start playing: easy, normal, moderate, and hard. I played the entire game on moderate just because it was so easy, and I literally pushed X the whole time. Oh, and that was it, just button mashed. Which kind of made, honestly, battling a little bit like, whatever.
Bland.
But at the same time, I could watch Netflix or something while I was playing because all I had to do was just one hand push the thing with the other
sounds
hand
like my
changing
kind
the
of game.
channel.
Yeah.
I might have to pick it up.
But I mean, as far as story goes and all that stuff, I mean, that's why you play a Tales game, for the characters.
Right.
So.
Well, it sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. It was a blast. Any other questions?
That was it.
Oh, well, you made it
Mark,
sound like you were going to fire
told
off like a...
Well, I was going to
at the
say,
beginning
I
of the
heard
show,
the
you said, "I'm
ending
gonna
was
come."
disappointing, but you already went over that.
Yeah.
So.
It was just kind of anticlimactic.
Right.
The last battle is kind of cool in that, like, this isn't really a spoiler or anything, but I like how they formatted it. You start with two characters in the fight, and there's a reason why leading up to that. And then at the at some point in the battle, one of the other characters will come in using one of their special moves, and it'll show a big old anime cutscene with them being like, "Meh," and they'll come in and join the party, and then one by one they all come in, which is kind of cool. I did want to bring up one thing: the dual system that they have as far as who you can play as. You can pick who your main character is.
Oh yeah.
There was really no point for it in this game at all. No, I did not see
pick a guy or a girl, right?
Correct.
They were
but it wasn't the
supposed to be
same
different.
storyline.
Oh.
I mean, it was, but like they're you're seeing it from 2 different points of view, a la Suikoden 3.
Right.
Suikoden, sorry.
Suikoden.
I'm used to saying Suikoden.
Everyone is.
But like Suikoden 3, there you really see the reason why from looking at different angles, because there's so many different things that goes on behind the scenes for each one. This one, I mean, I played as Jude, the guy. There really wasn't much reason to have to play as Mila at all. Just from playing through it, it really just was not. They're really, the way it looked to me was they just put it in there just because so they could say, "Hey, look, you can do this. You can pick what character you want to be."
Right.
And that's it. I mean, it just did not. Like, I hope they don't do it again, because there really was no point.
It's just a bullet point for the back of the box.
That's it, pretty much. Yeah. So I mean, it wasn't bad. It was just not necessary. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely recommend, especially if you're a JRPG fan, especially if you're an anime fan. Check it out, because that's literally what it is. It's just an overarching
interactive
story.
anime.
Yeah, definitely. It's a blast.
All right.
We'll move on. Brian, give me a lead-in sound for Chrono Trigger.
Chrono Trigger.
All right, that was cool.
That was
It was
awesome.
like a voice modulation.
Do you even know what that word means?
No.
Okay. All right.
At least I'm honest.
Well, since I just talked your ear off with the last game, I'll let you guys start with your pros. Mark, why don't you rock it out?
All right. Well, I'm sure the viewers have picked up the listeners have picked up by now that I'm really critical of punishing games.
Yes,
Like
you are.
Yep.
I struggled my way through Kingdom Hearts, and the universally loved Last of Us even got on my nerves a little bit.
Yep.
So Chrono Trigger is like the complete opposite of that. I loved every minute of it. It was fun. It was brisk. It kept moving. Never presented any headaches at all. And it was also had a compelling story.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It was just a wonderful experience to go back to it and try it out again. Although I guess it does kind of matter what platform you play it on.
Yeah, that's.
So
yeah.
I initially started playing on the PlayStation 3 version, and it probably took 5 to 10 seconds. I might be exaggerating, but it took a long time to open up your menus and change areas and stuff like that to the point where you notice you're waiting on it.
Which is
lot.
a port from PlayStation 1.
Yeah. Right.
Probably mentioned too. So, I mean,
Right.
yeah, the loading it's pretty atrocious.
Yeah, I played it on the Vita and had the same issue. Just, when you opened your menu or you were going to a battle, it took a little pause.
Mm-hmm.
Small gripe, though.
Brian.
Okay, well, here's how I'll describe it. I don't remember where. I remember I was just discovering the Kingdom of Zeal.
This is your first time playing through, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, man, how did I miss this game, when it came out? Now, I played also the PS3 version, which is the redone version from the NES version. So it had all those cool cutscenes, basically, that looked like Dragon Ball Z. And that's like one of my favorite animes. So I loved the art style of the game. You could just tell it was the same artist. I mean, hell, Chrono looked like Goku, basically, with red hair. So I remember getting in the Kingdom of Zeal, you get to that plant, you're like, you go into that time portal, and you're in this like weird, like it's like a barren, like snowy wasteland, and you're like, what? Where am I? Like, what's going on here? And then you go into one of those little portal rooms, and it whips you up into the Kingdom of Zeal, and I was like, wow, a floating city. That's amazing. You find out they're using the power of Lavos to keep their city, all their that's where all their magic's coming from. I mean, like Mark said, it's always something moving, and seeing the world from different times and what the history was amazing. Like, you go back like into the beast, into the dinosaur era, and you go all the way up to the future when it's just, I was thinking, man, I can't believe I missed this game when it came out. Like, I'm absolutely having a blast. I loved the combat. Combat was very, it was very, Final Fantasy-esque. Obviously, I actually liked that it didn't like send you into a you just pulled out your weapons.
That's actually one of my favorite things as well.
Yeah, because I don't really mind the random encounters and going in, but something about just like, okay, pull out my swords and we'll battle without having to wait for them to load into a battle zone.
Yeah,
I thought that was very interesting. So yeah, my pros are the art style, the music,
definitely
the story, how it just kept moving, how it was like so fascinating. A lot of pros on that one.
Definitely, I totally agree with everything you guys said. I would add, like, I think the time travel aspect is incredible. Doing something in the past and then having it affect something in the future, like the whole I don't know if you did it, Brian, the side quest with Robo, where he plows makes the forest grow. There's a, like, I don't know what, I think it's in the Middle Ages or something. You see him at some point, and he's going through and he's just plowing the fields and trying to get the trees. Well, then you go to the future, to the present, and it's fully grown, and he's there, and he's all rusted out and everything like that. And he's like, "I've been waiting for you.
I never actually
glad to
did
be
that.
back." Yeah, it's cool. I mean, it like changes the landscape of the continent there. And it's just little stuff like that where it really, really makes this game one of a kind. There really isn't any other game that I can think of that has made that type of an impact as far as, like, done it so beautifully with time travel and, like, just the whole layout and the way the story is told and just everything about it is just great. There really isn't anything like it. One could argue Final Fantasy 13 too, yes, it does have a time travel aspect, but in no way does it come close to doing it as well as Chrono Trigger did. And yes, I played through it, so I know.
So
the time travel it really was something special. Like,
seeing the world from
you
all
got
the
to see
different...
the world from the dawn of mankind to well after the apocalypse.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was great. And then I really liked how diverse the characters were.
Yep.
Like, no two characters were alike in that game at all. It was just, I mean, you get a robot, you get a human that's been turned into a frog, you get a cave woman, a swordsman, a technical genius, and a prince. I mean, it's awesome.
Oh yeah.
It really is. It's just, everybody is so great. as far as cons go, I'll go quick because I really don't have much. I had a hard time finding cons for this game because it's just so great. One of them is the loading times on the PS1 port.
Right.
But the other one is, and this actually has always bugged me, when you have to go back to a previous area, when you don't have the ship yet, having to walk through those old zones again, and having being forced into those battles and everything, it's so boring and so just unnecessary in my opinion. The castle in the Middle Ages, you have to go back there 5 or 6 times throughout the game,
right?
And you keep having to walk through that stupid forest every single time to get there.
I did that so much I actually learned a pattern on how to go through the whole thing and avoid all the combat.
Well, you shouldn't have to do that.
That's true.
You know,
it's better than a Final Fantasy game where it's just random battles that come out of nowhere.
Yeah. I agree.
At least you can avoid some of the headaches if you want to.
Yeah, but that's the only thing that bugged me.
That's a valid complaint.
And it's a small one too.
Yeah.
I mean, so literally that's the only thing that I personally, gripes that I had about it.
Mm-hmm.
You?
Other than a couple of times just figuring out the boss battle combinations was annoying, but that was also part of the beauty of the game.
The trial and error.
Sure. Plus and minus for me.
Yeah.
Overall, it was pretty awesome. Just be careful about which version you choose to play. I think there's a virtual console Wii version that might avoid all the loading time issues.
It's the Super Nintendo version.
Okay, so
you won't get the cutscenes, but
correct.
I actually preferred I didn't see all the other cutscenes, but the little opening title screen cutscene.
Mm-hmm.
I preferred the old pixel art to the animated one.
The DS version is really good. It's really well done. So that's the one that I would recommend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's portable, but you know what? It's portable Chrono Trigger is not a bad thing.
No, you play it when you're play it at lunch or what have you.
Absolutely. You got any cons, Brian?
Yeah, I got 2. I thought, and I know that obviously the load times, we won't talk about that because I didn't really care. I actually thought the combat was a bit too uncomplicated. I mean, I know you had all the combo attacks but I found myself just when you're doing, like you said, you have to go through zones just 100 times. Like you know how you said in Tales of Xillia, I just found myself just hitting X.
Yeah.
Let's get through this. Come on. I mean, that's a small gripe, but I found it after you're doing the 1,000th time you've gone through the zone and you're fighting constantly. I don't even care about casting spells. Just
wait till you play through it again with a new game plus and you keep all your levels and everything.
Yeah.
You have no reason to fight stuff. So when you're forced into a battle, you're just like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah. And the other con was I got the regular ending, the first ending you get, and I didn't actually like it very much. I'm sure there are great endings, but it was kind of and maybe that was by design, that it's kind of we're going to kind of leave this ending a bit wanting so that you go back and play it again. But I found myself kind of going, that was kind of a weird ending. But like I said, small gripe. Other than that, the game was great.
All right. Well, I think it's pretty clear whether we recommend it or not.
Absolutely.
I think it's been out for 20 years plus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it still holds up well today.
Definitely.
So it's a great game. Can't really say much about it other than that. All right then. We'll go ahead and head over to our top 5 silent protagonists. Brian, give me a noise that reflects top 5 silent protagonists.
Oh, I was being silent?
That's good. Yeah, I got that.
Yeah,
I got
because
that.
I'm funny.
That was... Oh, boy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what? I'm gonna start with my number 5.
All right.
My number 5 is the Pokemon trainer from the Pokemon series.
Gotta catch them all, Pokemon.
Woo! Absolutely. What's funny is when I thought about this, I was like, it's not even really the character that I like that much. It's the fact that he's just kind of there, and the way they present it is to where you focus more on the actual Pokemon themselves,
right, rather
than the character, and he's just kind of
he's the one that carries them.
He's basically like the bank, and everything else is just in the bank, and I like that about the game. So I mean, again, not the most deep character in the world, but just I like the presentation of it. So, and that's why he's my number 5 Pokemon trainer. Mark,
nice pick. My number 5 was the Suikoden 2 protagonist, who there's a bunch of non-canon names on like Suikosource.com and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
there's not really a name. You get to choose the name for yourself. I thought it was just a great character because of the amazing backstory with his grandfather being part of Highland Army and being in a battle with his best friend who was over in, I think it was Muse. And then that coming back and being mirrored in his conflict with his best friend, Jowie, in the core storyline. Not really a lot to say since he's a silent protagonist.
He's referred to as the Flame Champion in the third one, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a text adventure game that didn't come out in America that kind of fleshed that out a little bit more. Unfortunately, we don't get to play it, so
I'm sure you can find an emulator somewhere.
yeah, probably. But yeah, he's my number 5. He's pretty awesome.
Very cool. Brian.
Yes, mine is Jack from the BioShock 1 game. He's the character you play as. And they build his character so much by just the circumstances around him. He doesn't say a word all game. Doesn't say a single word. And yet you know more about him at the end of the game than, most characters that say, thousands of words in games. That's why he's my number 5.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, he doesn't say a word.
There's that amazing twist that I won't
Exactly.
spoil for anyone.
Because I haven't played it.
No, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's like he has all this character building that is going on around him that that informs who he is, and you're like, whoa, okay, that's crazy.
Yeah, and then there's something about that twist. That's one of my favorite twists of all time. Because it's just like, wait a minute. What just happened in the entire game?
Yeah, that scene, I won't spoil anything, but Mark, that scene where he's I'll just say there's a golf club involved, and you're like, oh my, what did I just do?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What did I just do?
Yeah, why did I do that?
Oh man, BioShock and that scene with the golf club.
That's all I can say.
It's pretty awesome.
I own it. I haven't gotten into it yet. I will eventually though, for sure. You guys have the same number 4, but it's also lower down on my list, so we'll wait to talk about that. My number 4, I can't believe none of you guys put this
first of
on
all,
your list.
I have a problem with your number 4. He is not a silent protagonist.
Yeah, that's why I didn't.
Well, then neither is our number 1.
No, he doesn't
because he makes noises.
He grunts.
And that's it.
He grunts. He doesn't speak English.
And some of the games.
Okay, go tell us who it is.
My number 4 is Mario.
Okay,
from the
let me
Mario
explain.
Brothers series.
It's me, Mario. That's speaking, and he always says things like,
dude,
woohoo.
everybody.
No, those aren't words.
Yeah, exactly.
But
everybody else in the game does all the talking. He does not talk at all.
All right. He does say it's a me, Mario, though.
He does.
He lets
and
you know
that's
who
it.
he is.
And he says, "Wah, yeah,
He does.
woohoo,
Woohoo!
Yeah,
He's a really
that's
excited
it.
guy. He's an excited Italian
Other
plumber.
than that, nothing. He does not say anything. And I knew one of you guys was going to have an issue with that. But I mean, it's Mario. He's probably
All right, I'll give it to you.
Probably, in my opinion, at least from what I can tell, he's probably the most iconic video game character out there. I mean, like,
that's fair.
Even if a person isn't a gamer at all, if they see a picture of Mario, they know who Mario is.
Yeah.
They might not even know that he's a plumber, but
He's the most limber Italian plumber I've ever seen.
He's got some air, man.
Yeah.
He's like a car talk host.
Yeah.
All right. But I mean, I could not make a list like this without including Mario, just because he's somebody that I grew up with, and even though his games don't have the deepest storylines or that much dialogue for that matter, other than, oh, Mario, your princess is in another castle, or what is it she says in Mario 64? Come to the castle, I've baked a cake for you.
What the heck?
I mean, other than that, there's really not much that happens story-wise, unless you play the Paper Mario games and Mario RPG. Which Mario RPG, he is a silent protagonist in that one, for sure. My number 4, Mario. Number 3, Mark.
My number 3 is Wander from Shadows of the Colossi? Shadows of the Colossus.
I think it's just Shadow of the Colossus.
No, it's Shadows of the Colossus because there are Colossi. Oh, don't prove me wrong. He's typing. He's typing
breaking
on that
out
keyboard.
the computer.
Shadow of the Colossus.
That doesn't
Boom.
And Shadow of the
Boom.
Colossus, Brian.
That doesn't make sense because there are several Colossuses.
Hey, Opera House.
Opera House.
But perhaps Dorman is the only Colossi, and Colossus and Wander is the Shadow. Huh? Did you ever think about that,
man.
Brian?
Well, I'll tell you what I like about Shadow of the Colossus.
Is that it?
I'll think of something.
Is that it? That's all?
It was really pretty.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I hated it.
Wow.
Hated it. Hated it.
What?
It was a love-hate relationship for me.
I hated it
loved
because honestly, I'm a terrible gamer when it comes to that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And I hated getting all the way to the top
You
of
didn't
the
like
boss
the grip factor.
and then being all like, oh, I hit him once, and then I fall down to the bottom and have to climb all the way back up just to get another hit, and then fall down again, and then do it all over again.
Yeah.
That's not fun.
I really enjoyed it up until the flying one, where you have to ride on your horse and jump off of it or something like that to get onto it, and then I lost my temper. Couldn't play it anymore.
I can't.
I must be like an incredibly good gamer though, because I straight up just loved it, and I dominated those Colossus.
Brian, I want you to think about what you just said. An incredibly good gamer. When like half the games we've talked about on this show, you're like, I haven't played it, but I watched my brother play it.
But I beat Shadows of Colossus real good.
Okay, I'll give you that. Even though you didn't beat Shadows of the Colossus.
Oh man, that doesn't make sense.
I liked the simplicity of the story, the fact that he's bringing this girl Mono, I don't know how you pronounce it, to the forbidden realm. Is that correct?
Yes,
the forbidden realm,
Well,
order to resurrect her,
because
she starts working
dead.
with Dorman. And there's a little twist halfway through, or so.
I wouldn't know.
It's,
First boss,
it's cool.
I was done.
Man. Oh,
I was
JJ.
Did you buy it?
No,
Oh,
I played the
Good job.
demo.
And you were like, that's it?
I hated it. I absolutely
That was like
hated
one
it.
of the last greatest games for the PlayStation 2.
Exactly.
It was gorgeous to look at. I'll give it that. But
Yeah.
other than that, no way. I will never, ever, ever, ever.
I'm halfway with you. It was
I'm none of the
frustrating,
way with you.
but that's my number 3.
Hey, right on.
Very cool. Brian, number 3.
My number 3 is Shell from the Portal series. What is there to say? You're this. I believe she's Asian. From looking at myself in the Portals, and that's all you know about her. And then, actually, in Portal 2, you get a little bit of background that she's been in the. You get down there into the lower levels, and you see all the science projects and the potatoes.
Yep. And
you see her, when she was a kid, and you're like, oh, yeah, I've been in this facility for forever. And this girl has the what's the word to say? She's like a fortitude of will, because GLaDOS makes fun of her the entire time, being overweight.
She's been in the facility the whole time. She's probably used to it at that point,
Right? And just doesn't say a word, but yet any good silent protagonist is you can learn a lot about them by them not saying a word. And in Portal 2, it really came together. You're like, oh wow, she's been in the facility since she was a kid.
Yep.
Her parents used to work here, and now everything's gone to hell, and so,
Totally.
yeah,
My number 3 is Ness from Earthbound.
nice.
I don't think either one of you have played this game.
It's definitely on my bucket list of playing games.
Yeah, I haven't played it.
Oh man, what a great game! I mean, I talked about it quite a bit. I think the last episode, because I just finished it up again, just for nostalgia purposes and the fact that it came out on Wii U. I love it. I would have played it many, many more times before if the battery pack on my Super NES cartridge wasn't dead. But I busted out my old strategy guide for it for this playthrough, and I mean, the strategy guide's even cool because they have it laid out like a travel brochure. Like, it's pretty cool. They give you little fun facts about each locale and everything. It's cool. But Ness is like, I mean, exactly like what you were just saying. You really get a feel for who that character is without them even saying anything, because of things other people say to him and the surroundings and the presentation of the game, which, like you said, is the mark of a great silent protagonist. So, and the whole entire game just revolves around him just being a kid from a small town, and people looking up to him and being like, "Dude, you're destined for great things." And you just get bits and pieces about his life here and there, and it's just great. It's a good time. All right, our number 2s and number 1s kind of go back and forth with each other, but my number 2 is different from you guys. But my number 2 is the same as your number 4.
Yep.
Chrono from Chrono Trigger, which we just talked about.
Yeah, and he made my list only recently. Obviously, I just played it, so
Right.
Yep. What else is there to say that we haven't said already? Great game, and
Not much.
this is another one of those situations where the world and everything around him makes lets you know who he is and stuff. It's fantastic.
yeah.
So
His mom is a nice lady.
Yes. She's a nice lady.
She is a very nice lady.
She's a nice lady. She always
He's
feeds
a
him.
strong, good-natured kid who just likes to stay quiet and help people.
And loves to eat. Loves to eat.
Yes.
He'll eat.
And he returned that cat to the little girl.
Yeah, he did.
But he did steal that picnic basket.
Yes, he did.
He didn't for me.
Yeah.
He did for me.
Oh, so you got put in jail?
I did.
Oh, man.
You get put in jail either way.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, you do. But
They're like,
I mean,
you're going to serve 4 days, and there's like, but after 4 days, we're going to kill you.
yeah, but there is a way to make them say not guilty.
Yeah.
So you end up in jail either way, though. You're right. So yeah, well, I mean, there's really not much more we can say about that. Mark's number 2 is the same as Brian and I's number 1, and Brian's number 2 is the same as Mark's number 1. So we'll just go right into number 1. We'll go ahead and do Mark's first, since I think it should have been switched. But Mark,
Probably.
I loved your number 1 in Shawshank Redemption, by the way.
You mean Morgan Freeman?
Oh yeah,
That's who you're referring to.
Gordon.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Gordon Freeman.
gotcha.
Right. My number 1 and Brian's number 2
Yes.
is Gordon Freeman, not Morgan Freeman.
Yes.
He wasn't in Robin Hood.
He was not in Robin Hood.
Bruce Almighty?
You have him on your list, so I expect you to know.
I do.
I don't have him on my list. You know why? Because I haven't played either one.
The fact that you haven't played Half-Life is
know.
like, what?
I know.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
So let's talk a little bit about Gordon.
All right.
Mr. Gordon, because listen,
Doctor, I
it's
believe
Dr.
he prefers Doctor
Yeah, he did
Gordon
get his-
Freeman.
but
Oh, did he tell you that? No,
So-
he didn't, because he's a silent protagonist.
but this was what's so funny about it is, so he's a scientist at a super secret facility.
Anomalous Materials Lab.
Yeah, and he doesn't say a word. How is that possible? But yet at the same time, you believe it. You're like, all these scientists are talking at him, and he's just kind of like blinks at them, and
Yeah.
they're like, I agree. Balderdash, and then he's
That's definitely what happens in the first one.
But you think about
exactly like that.
You think about it, and it's like he's such a good silent protagonist that you forgive the fact that there's no way he could be in his field and not say a word. They'd be like, Dr. Freeman, what do you think about this, this equation? And he just blankly stares at them, and they're like, okay, I'll take that as a yes.
I remember that part. That was my favorite.
So, but after the second game and then the 2 episodes following it, you just figure out that he's got a destiny to him. Like he's destined to be where he is. And
Well, there you go, kids. If you want to be a scientist with a destiny, just don't say a word to anyone. Blink at him.
well, and what's the man? It's been so long. What's the guy's name that's always following him around? He's in the suit.
There's a lot
The
of
G-Man.
The G-Man.
He kind of informs him
Right.
because he's doing the talking.
In fact, there's fan theories that the G-Man could be Gordon Freeman. Huh?
I've heard that.
Yeah.
Gordon Freeman?
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't get it.
that's never mind.
You haven't played the series, but
Nope.
he's always kind of there, and he's he's the most mysterious character in a game, but he actually helps drive the character because Gordon Freeman obviously didn't say a word, so
Right.
Yeah.
But he's kind of like, he's in this lab that goes crazy and all this stuff starts happening, and he picks up a crowbar and kills all the aliens and saves a bunch of scientists and goes to the alien homeworld and kills their boss and does all kinds of awesome stuff.
Yep.
So he just kind of rises to the occasion.
All right.
Yeah, it's a good one.
There you go. Well, that only leaves one left, and if you haven't guessed by now, which
Come on.
I would imagine you should, even though I don't understand, Mark, it should have been your number 1.
Yeah.
Man.
I apologize.
Should have been your number 1.
I was just putting a list together,
I understand.
and I was like, I'm not sure
Unbelievable.
about the orders. I'm just going to random it.
Brian, who is our number 1?
That's a drum roll. It is.
Or a motorboat, depending
It
on
is.
who you ask.
Yeah.
That
It
was
is,
an amazing drum roll.
Our number 1 is Link from the Legend of Zelda
that should have been
series.
my number 1. I'm sorry.
Come on. I mean, I know he says stuff like "yeah, hoa, yeah," but
He does say that.
yeah, he does that a lot.
Yeah.
But he didn't say. I mean, he really just they all talk at him, and he's just like, "I'm the hero of time."
Here's my question: is Link actually one character?
What do you mean? Like,
Is he just one person?
He is like
No.
reincarnated.
no,
Right.
no,
Isn't he?
he's like a destined hero. All of them, because like the one in
There's always a link.
Yeah,
the
but
one in Skyward Sword's not the same as the one in Ocarina of Time.
but that's what I mean. Is
Right.
it doesn't take place over the same
No,
time
it,
frame.
it takes place in the same world,
but he's like reincarnated every time, isn't he?
yeah, kind of like
Yeah.
Ganon, kind of like Zelda. There's always a Zelda arc. There's always because in Wind Waker, that Wind Waker is one of my favorites. I haven't actually not played Skyward Sword yet, and I'm kind of upset that I haven't. But Wind Waker is one of my favorites because it really kind of lets you know how it works. Because I won't try to, I'm sure most of you played Wind Waker if you love Link, but Hyrule's been flooded. It's gone. It's under the sea, but yet a hero arises, and it's the Link. He's and they tell you like there's always a hero. There's always a princess, and there's always the three powers of the Triforce, basically, always going at each other. That's kind of how it works.
Yep.
Yeah.
And again, he's like Mario. He's iconic.
Oh yeah.
You know, obviously more people would probably know Mario. I think just because that name is synonymous with Nintendo, which is synonymous with video games,
Yeah.
depending on your age too. But
He drop kicks you
Link
right in
is-
the nostalgia button.
I mean, even somebody who doesn't like the Nintendo systems that come out, if you say, well, if there was one game you could play on Nintendo, chances are they're going to say Zelda, because they're all great. There's nothing wrong with them. Well, I shouldn't say nothing wrong with them, but they're great games, hands down.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Well, that's our top 5 silent protagonists. Anybody have anything to add?
No, I don't have anything yet. I think that was a good one. I think we all had some good ones. I had my gripe about Mario, but JJ won me over.
I'm going to change Link to my number 1
Okay, we'll
There
allow
you
it.
go.
after the segment.
We'll allow it.
All right, I'll allow it. Well, with that, we'll move on to emails. I'm going to see if I can mirror Mark's email song from last week. Here we go. Ready? Emails. We got your emails. Yeah. How's that?
It's pretty good.
Pretty good.
Is that pretty good? All right. So I just saw the thing like spike on Audacity. I'm going to have to file that down quite a
Yeah, it
bit.
didn't sound that loud to me.
Yeah.
It's your face isn't loud
Wah,
to
wah.
me. Dang it.
Dang it.
Oh.
All right, so what do we got this week?
We actually don't have any. Well, we do have a new email, but we're going to get to that here in a minute. What I thought we would do is actually address Brian's point on the Facebook page
Yeah.
about MMOs.
Yes.
And I apologize. I should have had this brought up already.
Morpika.
Yes. If you don't know what an MMORPG is, Mark, while I'm looking for this, why don't you explain what an MMORPG is?
MMORPG stands for Massively Multiplayer Online Role-Playing Game.
That was actually excellent. I call them Morpikas because that's a fun way to say it, but
The first critically successful one was called Ultima Online.
yes.
Based on the Ultima role-playing series game.
And it's still going strong.
Yeah, yep. And
That's
EverQuest.
still going.
All right. So here's what Brian says. He says, as someone who very much enjoys lore and stories in games, one genre that can struggle to keep up a decent narrative is MMORPGs. I mention this because I find myself getting sucked back into WoW. WoW is World of Warcraft, of course. I have always loved the lore of WoW and am very impressed with the direction the game is heading this expansion. I am also going to be dabbling in Final Fantasy XIV Reborn and hope it can suck me in like WoW can. What are your opinions regarding MMORPG and story and lore building like it? Hate it? Let me know. Wait, no. MMORPG and story and lore building. Like it? Hate it? Let me know. Your punctuation is atrocious.
I typed it on my phone.
And your spelling, too.
I typed it on my phone.
Opinions?
Opinions.
Oh, my God.
I just do it
Man.
quickly.
Uh,
But you want me to explain what it means, basically?
I know
Okay.
it's pretty obvious
All right.
what it means. What do you think about MMORPGs and
Yeah.
how it's presented?
Well, Mark actually brought up something that he calls them. What do you call them? Theme park
Theme park style
style.
MMORPGs.
And he actually brought up something really. He did a little rebuttal to mine as well as you did, and this is where I find myself impressed with WoW. Mark said that he doesn't like doing something in the game. Let's say you're going to a town and you're supposed to destroy it. Well, then it's still standing.
Right.
After that, it's kind of like it seems so artificial.
Yep.
Well, what World of Warcraft has done is, and I told him I'd explain it to him in person because it's hard to type. It's called, I believe it's like instance zones or phasing.
Phasing,
It's
yeah.
zone phasing, where I think Did that come out in Wrath? I think it was Wrath.
Wrath, yeah, because they did it with the Wrath Gate.
Right. So what happens in that, Mark, is if you destroy, let's use the Wrath Gate. It's a very big gate. It's similar to the Black Gate in Lord of the Rings.
Awesome little storylines.
Yeah, absolutely. And you go in there, and there's this big battle at the Wrath Gate, right? And what ends up happening is a bunch of dragons have to come and like just burn it all out, just because it's a bunch of undead. And after you do that quest, forever, when you go back to the Wrath Gate, it's the dragons are there and it's on fire and it's
like the
destroyed.
aftermath.
Right. So you actually kind of get some story building. You're like, oh, I thought, you don't go back to the Wrath Gate and it's like still swarming with undead.
Okay.
But somebody who hasn't done it yet will still see
Yes.
how it looks
before
the storyline.
Yeah.
That solves one of my major issues.
Yeah,
with
and that
a lot of games.
That's what I'm saying. Like I've always said that Blizzard's on the cutting edge of how to work MMORPGs story wise. I have gripes about it because they don't have as many cutscenes as I'd like. So it's a lot of quest reading but the phasing, the zone phasing is what's really doing it for me. It's like, oh, I destroyed that town and look, it's destroyed.
Yep.
It's not just
Definitely.
sitting there again. So
Now, will you still see people that are there before it's been destroyed?
no. So let's say you're on the quest that's destroying the town and I've already done it. You'll zone out. I won't be able to see you because you're doing that quest.
Correct.
Okay.
So it really works well, and I was really impressed by that.
Now, if I'm just going to try and poke holes in this.
Okay.
If you wanted to help another player who hadn't done it yet, can't do it.
Can't do it.
I guess
That's-
that makes sense though, because you've already done it.
Right.
How
That's
could you?
that's the only gripe people have is, well, I can't help my friend because
Yeah. And honestly, in most cases, you don't really have to,
they're
because it's designed for a solo thing, because you're going to be phasing it out and stuff like that. So, for the most part, you don't really need to. It's all story based, anyways.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
Well, that solves one of my major gripes.
yeah.
I mean, shoot, the whole Worgen starting area.
Oh, yeah.
is one
It's
big
complete phase.
area.
Yep.
Yeah,
'Cause it
crazy.
starts-
The
yeah.
island is like sinking into the ocean, and like as you move along the story, like it gets the water gets higher and higher, and
Yep.
things that end up happening differently. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
As far as and I responded as well. As far why don't you talk about what you mean by sandbox?
Well, there's lots of things it could mean.
Or not sandbox. What did you call
He
it?
called it a theme park.
Theme park. What do you mean by theme park?
Theme park is, I mean, I'm sure you've all been to theme parks.
Sure. Yeah.
Like Disney World, where you go on the rides that have little storylines and stuff like that, and it's just like you're being churned through it.
Yeah.
Like they're just leading you through it to get to the next thing.
Gotcha.
And it doesn't feel like you're in a real place.
Right.
It just feels like you're in the staged event that's...
You're not in a real place. You
right.
are
Okay. I mean, obviously you're not. But, I don't know. Asheron's Call and Ultima Online, you could wander off the beaten path and go wherever you wanted if you felt like it, instead of being led down this pretty linear pathway with the presentation the way they want it to be. And I don't know.
Which
just
is
feels artificial to me.
Which is fine to have, but and this is kind of the point I was making on the page, is like I have that in real life. I am able to virtually go anywhere and virtually do anything I want. Why do I want to do that in a game where I'm trying to escape real life anyways? I want to go into a game that gives me a purpose other than, what I do in real life, which is go to work, come home, eat, sleep, and that's it. I want to be a hero of a certain, event. I want to be the guy who takes down the boss or saves the princess and that kind of thing. I'm not getting that out of real life. I'm getting that from this game.
Understandable.
But I can't make that up on my own in the game. It's got to be there for me to do. If people argue that an MMO is basically there to socialize with other people and play with your friends and stuff, which is it's totally true. But if you don't have anything to do, all you're doing is basically sitting in a chat room.
Yeah, talking. Yeah.
What else?
There were, even in Asheron's Call, there was stuff like that where it was it was not like built quests. It was GMs coming in and assuming the roles of characters. Yeah. And they had like this evil wizard Balzaron come out and start destroying towns, and players were joining together to kill them.
I remember when I played that, how often did that happen, honestly?
That's a good question. It's supposed to happen monthly, but I'm not sure if it did.
I mean, I can't remember a single time where I was there, at least, that it happened when I played.
I think, for me, the ideal MMO would be like a blended experience.
Sure.
where there is that open world, but also they could have the theme parkiness as well.
I'm surprised you haven't played. You just described World of Warcraft.
Yeah, I mean that's how WoW is.
Yeah, I mean I'm not kidding. They're actually. I read something, and I'm not a WoW homer. I've played a lot of MMOs. It's just they do it. The hardest thing for MMOs to do is to keep you like the lore of it. Like I am fascinated by the majority of WoW lore.
You have to have a reason to keep playing.
Yes, like I learned something new, and every time I learn something new, I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Like I just found out. I know JJ played a little bit of Mist of Pandaria. I found out that the Shah are actually the breath of an old god named Yasuraj. I'm like, oh, it's another old god. We still don't know who the heck the old gods are, but you're like, okay, I know they're a threat, right? And they're going this new way. They're called scenarios. So the world's completely open. You can go wherever you want. There's no loading screens. It's just, hey, and there's two worlds really. There's Outland, and then there's there's Azeroth. And the new direction they're going is scenarios, and they're amazing because they give you the story you need. So, like Mark said, if you want to go and find out why this happened, like there's a new scenario that just came out for patch 5.3 called the Dark Heart of Pandaria, where you find out that Garrosh is digging for an ancient Titan facility that was basically housing the heart of Yasuraj, and Garrosh wants it because the dude's nuts. And you do the scenario, and you're like, oh, wow. It gives you this voice acted, their story, and you kind of understand, I really like the way they're going with it. I do. It's less. It feels less like an MMO and more like a story-driven game. As much as it can be, at least.
I mean, as far as I can tell, like every MMO out there is like that, a blend of the two.
Absolutely.
I want to iterate that I have not played World of Warcraft since year 1.
But I mean, what MMO do you know of that isn't like that? That is all just story focused and doesn't have that freedom.
What do you mean?
Well, you said you'd like a blend of the two.
No. Like in most of these games, it's just like these narrow valleys that are feeding you through, and you have to follow the specific progression with each leveled zone, essentially.
But at the same time,
if I just wanted to turn and walk north towards some location, I couldn't usually go straight there.
You can, though.
Can I?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, you might get, if you're like level 10 and you walk, hey, I'm going to...
You might get owned.
Yeah.
But you can totally go there.
Oh, yeah. There's no restriction. Yeah, it's amazing.
Well...
And especially like when you get like to the higher levels in WoW, when you get flying mounts,
yeah.
Oh my gosh, you can go anywhere.
Yeah.
There's really not there's nothing stopping you from doing that stuff.
I don't know what I'm thinking of then.
All right.
Okay.
You heard it here first, folks.
You heard it
Mark
here first.
Shot down.
Oh.
We'll probably get done recording, then he'll be like, "Oh, I know what I meant." Ah, dang it. But yeah, I mean, I think to a certain extent, I do understand what you're saying. There are quite a few games where it doesn't allow you enough freedom. You might check out Guild Wars 2, to be honest, because
wanted to check that out. Yeah,
that's like you can go to all these different zones, but at the same time, you're never going to be out leveled and you're never going to be under leveled. Mm-hmm. It's always going to be right alongside with you.
It scales your level to every zone.
Correct. So, you can always have that sense of like urgency, like where you don't know if you're going to. Like I remember when we started playing Darkfall, you and your brother, the biggest selling point was like the looming danger of that you could be killed at any time, lose everything you've got right off the bat. That's kind of how Guild Wars 2 is, except you don't lose everything on death. But you there's really no safe place in that game other than the main cities. So I mean, yeah, I would say check it out. It's a good time.
Yeah.
It's just that and Star Wars is another good example where a big draw for a lot of MMOs is Endgame, and Guild Wars 2 and Star Wars do not have a lot in the way of endgame.
Yeah.
At least from what I've seen.
Yeah, you're right. I've heard complaints about both of those games being in-game light.
But at the same time, the path that you're talking about, the storyline and everything that you follow, is incredible in both games as well. Like I haven't finished the one in Guild Wars 2 because it's
ridiculously long.
Yeah. But I did finish the one in Star Wars before Brian.
And, I was so close, man. You were like, "No, stop!"
And my internet went out too that last day, and I was like, funny. "No, he's gonna beat me." But that was one of the reasons I stopped playing Star Wars because I got to the end with my one character, and I finished their storyline, and I was like, that was really cool. But I felt like I just played a single player game. There really wasn't a lot of like extra stuff to do. And I think that's what you're kind of saying, is that you don't really have those extra options, those extra features.
You feel like you're on rails.
Correct. And once I did that, I felt like I just finished a single player game, and I had no reason to keep playing. So I think I understand what you're saying as far as that's concerned. But as far as like not having the freedom to do whatever you want, I don't know. I have to disagree a little bit. I just didn't get the
impression that there was as much wide open space in World of Warcraft when you compare it to something like Darkfall.
I honestly think that World of Warcraft is bigger than any MMO.
Well, it's big, but it's like...
You ever played Asheron's Call?
I'm sure it's huge.
It's it takes a long time to run from one side to the other.
Before you get those mounts, like you start in, what is it, Gold?
Yep.
Well, it depends on what
Town
character
or whatever.
you make. Goldshire.
Goldshire, and you can't walk north because there's this giant mountain in the way, so you have to walk south, and then you have to... You know what I mean?
I see what you're saying.
Mountain on left,
the
mountain
monastery.
on right, you have to walk.
I think you're talking about you don't like the geographical restrictions.
Yes.
Okay, but at the same time, it builds into the lore because those mountains are Blackrock Mountains.
That's just how it is. Yeah. I mean, in real life, you can't walk through a mountain. You know, you can climb over it or whatever. You really want to bust out climbing gear in an MMO and start like taking,
yes, he does.
2 or 3 weeks to get through.
Maybe I do.
Well, you're
if I decide, screw this quest, I'm not interested, I want to go see this cool thing on the map, and I just want to walk straight there without twisting through a valley.
You just can't do it from the start, though. Once you get flying mounts, you can, absolutely.
Agreed.
Yeah, then those mountains are like inconsequential.
I haven't played MMOs enough.
It's all about working your way up to being able to do that type of stuff.
I see what you're saying now, though. I was confused by what you're saying, but he doesn't like the fact that he just wants to go north, south, east, or west without any kind of restriction. I get that, but honestly, the restrictions in WoW are basically lore restrictions. Like, those mountains are Blackrock Mountains, which have a huge part of the lore. You know, it's where the Dark Iron Dwarves live. It's like...
And where Stormwind is located is, like, strategically important as far as it's surrounded by, high-rise mountains and on the coast there.
That makes sense.
So, I mean, it's just... It's part of the game.
Yeah. And I'm not picking on World of Warcraft specifically. I haven't played that in... Years.
Yeah.
I played that year one, but then I tried to play Warhammer Online, and I kind of got the same vibe.
That was very linear.
And
that really was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that one. Even the zones, like, I mean, literally, like, you'd go to the, quote, world map or whatever,
right,
and it would just be, what is it, like, just a squiggle that goes up and down that shows you the next area. So, yeah, that one was, yeah. I like the public quest in that game, though. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And the PvP was done beautifully.
So tell me about Final Fantasy XIV and how this fits into our discussion.
Well, we're going to start actually getting into it. We'll probably be able to talk about it a little more on the next episode. But we're gonna start playing today and see how it goes. Yeah. I played the initial one when it was first
1.0.
launched, and it was I honestly, like, the main reason I played it was just because I'm a Final Fantasy fanboy.
Right.
And even I was kind of turned off by it, just because it was...
Which is why it's a reborn game, basically.
When they say reborn, have they, like, completely recrafted
it doesn't even look like the first...
It doesn't even look like the same. They kept the races, and you know what? And Square, I hope you're listening, because this is ridiculous, all right? You want to make a new game... You freaking make new races. You don't use the same skins and the same races from Final Fantasy XI, your other online game, and just add new names in there. You know what? Because now I'm stuck calling the Lilties or whatever they're called Tarutarus, because that's what they were before. And the humans, I'm calling them Humes, even though they're not. They're called whatever they're called. Sure, yes, that's the one.
Sounds riveting.
But it's like, why are you just reskinning this stuff? And hopefully the game wins me over with the whole reborn thing, but. Man, I was like...
He's like, what's going on here?
Yeah, that's my response right there. But, I'll keep an open mind.
We're optimistic. It's going to be
absolutely.
fun.
So based on my gripes, do you think I would enjoy the game?
I haven't played it yet.
Yeah, we don't know.
We can't really, so I don't know. Like I said, we'll get into it in the next episode.
Free to play?
Right, I think.
No, I don't think so.
30 days.
Yeah, well,
I logged in. I didn't put a credit card in.
Yeah, I think it's you buy the game, you get 30 days free.
I'll try it out.
It's, and if you get the digital version, it's only what, like $40?
30.
Oh, see?
Not bad.
All right, good discussion.
Good discussion, guys. Yeah, way to go.
So we are going to. I think that's it.
Yeah. Oh,
Cool.
Good job,
Episode-
Brian, on not coughing into the microphone
man,
too
you're
much.
going to hear him because I was coughing the whole time.
Mark, good job on not saying your own name
Thank you.
a lot.
My
My name is Mark. No!
I did a lot of coaching and a lot of practicing to make sure I didn't do that.
He's just in front of the mirror.
Yes.
Your name is not Mark. It's not. What we were going to start doing a new segment called the biweekly question, and this is mainly just because we don't have that many emails flowing in right now. And our buddy David sent us an email this week, but I think this would be a good first question to throw out there, and I'll post it up on the Facebook page. So go ahead and just shoot us an answer when you can. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to put up a question that we will propose to the audience, and then we just like to get your input. And if we like what you're saying, if you contradict us, agree, don't agree, whatever, we'll end up reading some of the responses on the air. Just like I said, keep an eye on the Facebook page. Our first bi-weekly question, which like I said we'll go over next episode, is JRPGs versus Western RPGs. Which do you prefer?
Oh, yeah. This is
We're
going to
gonna
be
have
a war is a brewing.
Yeah, we're going to get into a fist fight next episode.
Yeah, it's going to be you two versus me, I would imagine.
Oh, yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
That's how he
Oh,
likes
yeah.
it.
So yeah, JRPGs or WRPGs. When I put the question up there, it'll be right when I release this episode too. So just keep your eyes open and shoot us an answer. Let us know what you think. Go ahead and like us on Facebook, facebook.com/thefrozennorth. Find us on Twitter at FN Podcast. And Mark's actually been thrown down.
He's been tweeting like a tweeter.
I
I
laid
know
down
all
the gauntlet
about
last
the
time. And
tweets.
The tweeties.
he's
How
been
to
doing well.
retweeting. I know how to
And
retweet.
exclusive twit pics.
Once I figure out what that is,
Then it'll happen.
I'll start giving you those exclusive twit pics.
Also, our next game for episode 6 is going to be one that all three of us are going to be playing for the first time. We're just going to do one game since none of
afraid.
us have played it. It's going to be
Which before JJ says it, he shot me a text and he said, "Oh man, parts of this game are insanely difficult, so I'm sure I'm going to be having a yell fit."
yeah. I bought a controller specifically for this
Yeah.
for my PC.
Is there an easy mode?
Not that I saw. Nope.
We'll see if I beat it.
You'll think it's easy right off the bat, and then you get to this boss, and it's like, whoa, what?
What?
So, is there grinding? Can I grind?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because everything levels up with you. Yeah, it's awesome.
Oh,
Can
We'll
I
get into that next
review
week.
a different game?
We'll get into that next week. We'll get into
just
that.
play
next
as much
week.
as you can.
Also, at episode 6, we're going to be talking about our top 5 MMOs. So
More-
good.
I'm
Bubba.
a big fan of MMOs, so
Yes.
Yeah. Mark will have 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I have about 30. I've
I
played
so many.
All right. Well, until then, my name is JJ. Signing off. Again, I'm here with my 2 buddies, Mark
the opposite of howdy.
and Brian.
Sayonara. That's
All right.
Japanese.
Thanks for listening, and keep gaming.
This song was made available via the Creative Commons Attribution License. The song, Somewhere in the Stars, was written and produced by SoundCloud user _TWC.